All right, let's talk about something that's always tempting, the promise of getting rich fast. We're going to jump back to 1978 to check out a really important law in India, one that was built specifically to protect people's hard-earned money from some pretty shady schemes.
I mean, come on, who hasn't? You see an ad, you hear a pitch, and for a second you think, what if? It's a powerful feeling, right? Well, that exact temptation is what these schemes prey on, and it's why the Indian Parliament finally had to step in and do something about it.
So to really get what this law is all about, you first have to understand the villains of the story. The act was laser-focused on shutting down two specific kinds of schemes that were just sucking people's savings dry. First up, we have what the law calls a money circulation scheme. Basically, it's any plan where the only way to make money is to get new people to sign up and pay in. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it should. We know it better today as a classic pyramid scheme. The second thing they targeted was something called a prize chit. Now, this one's a little different. Imagine a group where everyone pools their money. But instead of it being a group savings plan, it's basically a lottery. Only a few lucky members, picked by a random draw, get a payout. So it's not about finance. It's all about pure luck.
And this brings us to a super important point. The government didn't want to outlaw all types of community savings. Some of them are absolutely vital. So they had to draw a really clear line in the sand between what's a predatory scam and what's a legitimate financial tool.
And you can see that line right here. On the left, you've got the banned prize chit. It's a total gamble where a few people win and most people lose. But on the right, you have the legal conventional chit. That's completely different. It's a transparent savings club where every single member gets their turn to take the full pot. One is a game of chance. The other is a trusted system of community credit.
So with all these harmful schemes popping up, how did the Indian Parliament officially fight back? Well, they didn't mess around. They came out with one single, powerful law to shut them down for good. And here it is, the Prize Chits and Money Circulation Schemes Banning Act of 1978. This was a really big deal. It created one clear rulebook for the whole country to take this problem on.
And this quote from Section 3 is really the heart of the whole thing. It's a total, no exceptions ban. It says you can't run a scheme, you can't promote it, you can't even sign up to be a member. The whole point was to break every single link in the chain.
Of course, a law is only as good as its consequences, right? It's got to have teeth. So what happens if someone decides to ignore the ban? Well, the Act has some pretty serious answers for that. For anyone caught promoting or running one of these banned schemes, the penalties are tough. First off, they could be looking at up to 3 years behind bars. And on top of the jail time, there was a fine of up to 5,000 rupees. Now, I know what you're thinking. That might not sound like a lot today, but you have to remember back in 1978, that was a huge amount of money. It was meant to be a serious deterrent. And the law casts a really wide net. It wasn't just going after the masterminds. According to Section 5, anyone who even helped out, by printing tickets, running ads, or just letting them use an office space, could also face up to 2 years in prison and a fine. Now, check this out, because this is a really clever part of the law. It doesn't let company bosses hide behind their corporate logo. Section 6 basically says that if a company breaks the law, the directors and managers in charge are personally on the hook. There's no passing the buck. Okay, so we know it's illegal and we know the punishment. But how does this all work in the real world? Like, how is the law enforced and does it really apply to everybody? Well, Section 7 gives the police some pretty sweeping powers to shut these things down. An officer can go into any place they suspect is involved, day or night, and they can use force if they have to. They can search the place, search the people, seize all the evidence, and take suspects straight into custody.
But the law doesn't apply to everyone. Section 11 carves out some specific exceptions for trusted institutions, so schemes run by state governments, government-owned companies, major banks like the State Bank of India, or certain approved charities, they're exempt from this act.
So let's take a step back. This law is from 1978. It's decades old. We live in a world of crypto scams and phishing emails now. So why are we even talking about this old piece of paper today? Because this act was so much more than just a piece of paper. It created a fundamental legal shield. It gave the authorities the clear power they needed to go after pyramid schemes and other predatory scams, and it has protected the savings of millions of people for generations.
And that really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? This law was written for a world of paper tickets and word of mouth.
Today's scams are digital, they're global, they're instant. So, can a shield forged in 1978 really protect us from the digital attacks of the 21st century? I'd love to know what you think. Thanks for joining this explainer.